A world where your car is more expensive, less efficient and less safe than the ones made by your competitors. This is a world that BMW CEO Oliver Zipse fears for Europe if it continues to bet on electric vehicles alone. In this video, we'll explore his controversial statement that EV obsession leaves Europe open to blackmail from China and what it means for the European car industry and the global EV market. First, who is BMW's CEO and why does his opinion matter? His name is Oliver Zipse, and he has been leading the German manufacturer since 2019. He is also the president of the European Automobile Manufacturers Association, or ACEA, representing 16 European car manufacturers. So he is very influential in the industry, and his views reflect the concerns of many European car makers. Zipse made his controversial statement in an interview with the business newspaper Handelsblatt in September 2023. He said Europe is leaving itself open to blackmail from resource suppliers by betting on electric mobility alone. He argued that battery-driven vehicles are heavily dependent on international supply chains, especially from China, which controls 80% of the world's raw material refining, 77% of the world's cell capacity, and 60% of the world's component manufacturing. He also said that a political decision to end combustion engines is a reckless one and that Europe should instead focus on improving the fuel efficiency and emissions of conventional engines and developing hydrogen fuel cells as an alternative technology. Zipse's comments sparked much debate and criticism from various stakeholders, including environmental groups, EV advocates, and even some rival car makers. They accused him of being short-sighted, backward-looking, and resistant to change. They pointed out that EVs are better for the environment and public health and more cost-effective and competitive in the long run. They also argue that Europe has been making significant progress in developing its battery industry and reducing its dependence on China. So who is right in this debate? And what are the facts behind Zipse's claims? Let's take a closer look at some of the key issues involved. One of the main issues is the availability and security of raw materials for EV batteries. These include lithium, nickel, cobalt, and graphite, essential for making lithium batteries. These are the most common batteries used in EVs today. These materials are not evenly distributed worldwide. Some are subject to geopolitical risks and environmental challenges. According to a recent report by the International Energy IEA, China is the largest producer of refined lithium, 60%, nickel, 56%, cobalt, 67%, and graphite, 80%, in the world. It also has significant reserves of these materials within its borders or in countries with strong economic ties such as Australia, Congo, Indonesia, and Chile. This gives China a huge advantage in securing its supply chain and lowering its costs. Europe heavily relies on imports for battery materials. This dependence exposes Europe to supply disruptions, price fluctuations, and political pressures. The situation is projected to continue, with China dominating the global production of these materials by 2030. China has been leading the world in this field as well. According to a report by Bloomberg NEF, a research firm focusing on clean energy, China had 136 gigawatt-hours GWH of battery cell manufacturing capacity in 2020, accounting for 77% of the global total. It also had 101 GWH of planned capacity additions by 2025, increasing its share to 80%. In contrast, Europe had only 18 GWH of battery cell manufacturing capacity in 2020, representing 10% of the global total. It also had 69 GWH of planned capacity additions by 2025, raising its share to 16%. Europe's battery industry faces multiple challenges that threaten its competitiveness and sustainability. One major challenge is the over-reliance on imported raw materials, which exposes Europe to a potential supply risks and price volatility and involves ethical and environmental issues such as human rights violations, child labour, corruption, pollution, and biodiversity loss. To address this challenge, Europe needs to diversify its sources, increase its recycling rates, reduce its consumption, and improve its standards and transparency for its battery materials. Another challenge is the competitiveness and innovation gap with China and other leading batteries in player cell manufacturing. A recent study by Transport Environment revealed that Europe's average cost of battery cells per kWh was higher than China's, lagging behind China in terms of energy density, cycle life, and safety. To improve its competitiveness, Europe needs to invest more in research and development, scale up its production, and enhance the quality and performance of its battery cells and components. Europe's battery ecosystem involves various actors from different sectors, regions, and backgrounds, creating opportunities for collaboration and innovation. However, this diversity also poses challenges for communication and cooperation, and some initiatives and programs overlap or compete with each other, leading to duplication or inefficiency. Europe must integrate and coordinate its stakeholders and initiatives to foster a common vision and strategy for its battery industry. In light of these challenges, BMW CEO Olivеr Zipse has warned that Europe needs to diversify its technology portfolio and not solely rely on EVs, as China's dominant position in the global battery market could leave Europe vulnerable to blackmail. But is Zipse right to be so pessimistic about Europe's prospects in the EV era? And is he justified to be so critical of the political decision to end combustion engines? Well, there are different ways to look at this question. On the one hand, Zipse has a point when he points out the risks and challenges that Europe faces in its transition to electric mobility. As we have seen, Europe depends on China for many aspects of its battery supply chain, which could expose it to potential threats or pressures from Beijing. Moreover, Europe still has much work to do to catch up with China regarding technology and the cost of battery cells and components. Furthermore, Europe has to deal with various regulatory, environmental and social issues that may hamper its progress or competitiveness in the EV market. On the other hand, Zipse may be too pessimistic and conservative in his outlook. As we have also seen, Europe has been making significant efforts and investments to develop and strengthen its battery industry and reduce its dependence on China. Moreover, Europe has many advantages and opportunities that could help it succeed in the EV era. For example, Europe has a strong and diverse car industry that can offer a wide range of EV models and services to meet the needs and preferences of different customers. Europe also has high innovation and expertise in various EV-related fields such as renewable energy, smart grids, digitalization and mobility solutions. Europe also has a supportive and ambitious policy framework to accelerate the transition to electric mobility and achieve its climate and energy goals. Therefore, it may not be fair or accurate to say that Europe is obsessed with EVs or leaving itself open to blackmail from China. Rather, it may be more appropriate to say that Europe is committed to EVs and aware of the challenges and opportunities that come with this commitment. Of course, this does not mean that Europe should ignore or neglect other technologies or options that could complement or enhance its EV strategy. For instance, Zipse is right to point out the potential of hydrogen fuel cells as an alternative or supplementary technology for electric mobility, especially for heavy-duty vehicles or long-distance travel. However, this does not mean that Europe should abandon or delay its efforts to phase out combustion engines, which are more polluting and inefficient than EVs. BMW CEO Oliver Zipse has raised some valid and important points about Europe's risks and challenges in its transition to electric mobility. However, he may also have overlooked or understated the efforts and achievements that Europe has made in developing and strengthening its battery industry and reducing its dependence in China. Moreover, he may have overemphasized or exaggerated the threats or pressures China could pose to Europe's EV strategy. Therefore, his statement that EV obsession leaves Europe open to blackmail from China may not be entirely justified or accurate. We hope you enjoyed this video and learned something new about this topic. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and share with your friends. If you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to get notified when we upload new content.